Are you terrified to venture into the unknown? The forest hushed as the figure walked deeper. Sunlight struggled to pierce the thick canopy. Each step was a descent into a growing primal fear. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. The figure shivered, pulling their jacket tighter. The woods felt alive, watching with unseen eyes. A low growl echoed through the trees, sending a chill down the spine. They pressed on, hoping to find shelter before nightfall. Through the trees a shape emerged, a dilapidated cabin swallowed by the woods. Its wooden walls were blackened with age and decay. The windows, like empty sockets, stared back. Each step crunched on a carpet of dead leaves. The growl seemed closer now, a guttural rasp that set teeth on edge. The cabin door's wood was rotten and spongy beneath the touch. The door creaked open, releasing a stench of death and decay. He stepped inside, his breath catching in his throat. The cabin's interior was a nightmare. Human skin. It adorned the walls, stitched together in a grotesque tapestry of agony. Faces, contorted in eternal screams, stared back. Hands, reaching out as if begging for mercy, were sewn into the macabre wallpaper. He stumbled back, bile rising in his throat. His blood ran cold. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to escape, but his feet were rooted to the spot, his gaze transfixed by the horror before him. The air grew colder, the silence heavier. He could hear his own heartbeat in his ears, a frantic drum against the oppressive silence. Then from the shadows a shape began to move. It emerged slowly, a creature out of nightmare. Its skin was pale, stretched taut over a skeletal frame. Its eyes were hollow sockets, devoid of humanity. Its most horrifying feature, however, was its mouth. Stretched in a grotesque grin, it revealed rows of needle-like teeth. A low hum emanated from the creature, a sound that sent shivers down the spine. The creature lunged, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Its movements were swift, almost a blur, as it closed the distance between itself and its prey. The scream echoed briefly, then was consumed by the oppressive darkness. The fear in his eyes was palpable, a raw, unfiltered terror that gripped his very soul. He fell back, the creature on top of him, its weight crushing the air from his lungs. The impact was jarring, sending a shockwave of pain through his body. He could feel the creature's hot breath on his neck, a reminder of the peril he was in. Sharp claws dug into his flesh, tearing through cloth and skin. The pain was excruciating, a burning sensation that spread like wildfire. Blood oozed from the wounds, staining the floor beneath him. Each movement of the creature's claws sent fresh waves of agony through his body. He thrashed, but the creature was too strong. His struggles grew weaker with each passing second, his strength ebbing away. Desperation clawed at his mind, but his body refused to respond. He was trapped, a prisoner of his own fear and the creature's relentless assault. He could smell its putrid breath, feel its hot, rancid breath on his face. The stench was overwhelming, a nauseating mix of decay and death. It was a sensory assault adding to the horror of his predicament. The creature's eyes bore into his, filled with a sadistic glee. The humming grew louder, a symphony of madness accompanying its gruesome work. It was a haunting melody, a chilling soundtrack to the horror unfolding. Each note seemed to resonate with the creature's actions, amplifying the terror. His mind was a whirlwind of fear and pain, the symphony of madness echoing in his ears. Pain, sharp and searing, ripped through him. It was as if every nerve in his body was set ablaze, each one screaming in unison. The agony was relentless, a constant reminder of his helplessness. He could feel his skin being peeled away, layer by layer. The sensation was excruciating, each strip of flesh torn from his body with meticulous cruelty. The air stung the raw, exposed tissue, adding another layer of torment. His screams were reduced to whimpers, his struggles to feeble twitches. The strength to fight back had long since abandoned him, leaving only the primal instinct to survive. But even that was fading, drowned out by the overwhelming pain. The creature worked with a methodical precision, its long, bony fingers delicately removing his skin. It seemed to take a perverse pleasure in its task, savoring each moment of his suffering. The creature's eyes, cold and unfeeling, watched him intently as if studying his reactions. He wanted to scream, to beg for mercy, but all that escaped his lips were gurgling moans. His throat was raw from the effort, his voice a mere whisper of its former strength. The taste of blood filled his mouth, a bitter reminder of his dire situation. His vision blurred, the edges of his consciousness fading to black. The world around him became a distant echo, the sounds of his torment mingling with the darkness. He could feel himself slipping away, the pain becoming a distant memory as the void embraced him. But even in the darkness, the creature's eyes haunted him. They were the last thing he saw before the void took over, a reminder of the horror that had befallen him. Those eyes, devoid of empathy, would be etched into his soul forever. As he lay motionless, the aftermath of his torture evident on his ravaged body, a chilling realization dawned upon him. This was not the end. The creature had more in store for him, more layers of torment to peel away. And so the nightmare continued, an unending cycle of pain and despair. The creature held the skin aloft, admiring its handiwork. The moonlight cast an eerie glow on the scene, illuminating the grotesque trophy. The creature's eyes gleamed with a twisted sense of pride, as if it had just completed a masterpiece. The forest around it seemed to hold its breath, the usual nocturnal sounds silenced by the horror unfolding within its depths. It was flawless, unmarked, a perfect addition to its collection. The skin was stretched taut, every detail meticulously preserved. The creature had an uncanny ability to keep its trophies in pristine condition, a testament to its dark expertise. Each piece in its collection told a story of terror and despair. It was a silent scream, a testament to the creature's malevolent artistry. The humming stopped, replaced by a low, guttural chuckle that echoed through the silent woods. The sound was chilling, a deep, resonant noise that seemed to vibrate through the very trees. It was a sound of satisfaction, of a predator reveling in its latest kill. The forest, usually alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, was now deathly silent, as if even the animals were too terrified to make a sound. The cabin, now bathed in moonlight, stood silent. Its windows were dark, the interior hidden in shadow. It was a place of secrets, of horrors that the outside world could scarcely imagine. The moonlight gave it an almost ethereal quality, a stark contrast to the darkness within. It was a place where nightmares were born, where the line between reality and horror blurred. The creature, its gruesome task complete, vanished back into the shadows. It moved with an eerie grace, blending seamlessly into the darkness. It was as if it had never been there, a phantom that left only terror in its wake. The forest seemed to exhale, the tension easing slightly as the creature disappeared. But the horror it had wrought remained, a dark stain on the night. Only the walls, adorned with their tapestry of screams, bore witness to the horror. Each artifact, each piece of skin, was a testament to the creature's reign of terror. The walls were a gallery of nightmares, each piece telling a story of pain and fear. It was a place where the past and present collided, where the echoes of the damned could still be heard. The latest edition joined the chorus of the damned. It hung there, a silent witness to the creature's malevolence. The collection was a macabre testament to the creature's dark artistry, each piece a reminder of the lives it had claimed. The cabin, now silent once more, stood as a monument to the horror that had unfolded within its walls. And in the darkness the creature waited, ready to add to its collection once more.